Okay. You really don't want to be held like this, do you? Okay. Have fun. Where are your keys? And take that and go somewhere else. Thank you. You got it? Okay, she's got it. Hello, my name is Hannah. Today, got a very casual video. I'm gonna do the mid-year Freakout book tag challenge. I think it's a tag. No one has tagged me in it, but that's not gonna stop me. I've got sweater on because it's freezing in my room. There's a tornado watch outside. The dog is here. I look like I've been hit by a truck. It's just going to be very casual today, but I just wanted to sit and chat for a few about my reading from the first half of the year. So I'm just gonna get started. I have my laptop here like I do in literally every single video. I don't know why I keep telling you. It's pretty obvious I'm not just speaking off the cuff. All right, so the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2021. Now, I've given out quite a few 5 stars so far this year. I used to be very withholding with 5 stars. I've only been rating books for like a year and a half. I used to be very withholding with 5 stars. And anymore, I am less so. So of the books I have given 5 stars, I have 3 real standouts so far. And those are Mayflies by Andrew O'Hagan, The Western Wind by Samantha Harvey, and one that I read in the first half of the year but is not out yet is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. I believe both of these I will be talking about more throughout this entire tag because they're just great. Okay, best sequel you've read so far. I have lots of sequel reading planned. I have not actually done much of it yet. Besides the Grishaverse, I've been reading the Grishaverse for like 4.5 months now. And barring Crooked Kingdom, which is obviously probably the best sequel in the Grishaverse, but not counting rereads, I suppose that leaves Ruin and Rising, because I think those are really the only sequels I read, plus the King of Scars duology. Is there just going to be 2 of those? Anyways, we'll come back to that. So yes, best sequel so far. It is new to me, is probably Ruin and Rising, which I think was the strongest of the Shadow and Bone trilogy, I think. Number 3, a new release you haven't read yet. So I have 2 in mind that really like stand out in my noggin. There's a lot that have come out this year that I just haven't read yet, but 2 that I'm like, need to get to those. One is Outlawed. I know it's a Reese's Book Club pick. I have really liked almost every Reese's Book Club pick I have read. It's a Western pitched as The Crucible meets True Grit. I don't know anything else about it. The cover is awesome, and that's kind of really all I know. So I'm interested. The other one I have in mind was the final revival of Opal and Neve. It's kind of a fictional music bio or something. Maybe akin to Daisy Jones and the Six. That's also one I don't know that much about. Also, on Opal and Neve, last Christmas when I was working at the bookstore, ARCs get sent to bookstores all the time, and far more of them than anyone really wants to read. And one of them was the final revival of Opal and Neve. But I guess I just didn't read the description because I definitely would have picked it up. I remember it sitting there for like a week and no one grabbing it, including myself. So that was a real dumb move on my part. Oh well. Past is the past. Question number 4, your most anticipated release for the rest of the year. I have 3 most anticipated releases. I think this question and the last question I am treating semi-differently, but also like not. Okay. So probably my most anticipated release is The Thorn of Emberlane by Scott Lynch. Maybe not, like I said in my rereading plans videos, it might not be my most anticipated release, but it's certainly my longest anticipated release. Thorn of Emberlane, of course, being the 4th Gentleman Bastard book after The Lies of Locke Lamora. The last book hasn't come out, or the most recent book came out in 2013. But the more I look into the release of this book, the blurrier the release date gets. I thought initially it was in August. I'm now also seeing October. I'm now also seeing that it doesn't actually have a release date. So I'm just going to keep an eye on Scott Lynch's Twitter and hope for the best. My other 2 probably most anticipated releases are Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World, which I have an arc for, so I just need to read it. And Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, because I am a Sally Rooney bitch. I loved Normal People. I really liked Conversations with Friends. And this book seems literally like an amalgam of the 2. So, and it's Sally Rooney. So whatever she publishes, I am there. Okay, biggest disappointment of the year so far. Luckily, I have not been disappointed by too many books, because most of the books that I have really high expectations for have been pretty good. But my biggest disappointment was probably The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. In my May wrap-up, I think it was, I kind of went off on how boring and dumb I thought this book was. Yeah, I really have nothing left to say about that book other than boring, dumb, not what I want, which is unfortunate, but whatever. Okay, and number 6, on the flip side, the biggest surprise. I kind of have 2. One is The Western Wind by Samantha Harvey, because this has like low to middling reviews on Goodreads, I want to say. This book, by the way, is about a priest in a medieval English village trying to solve a mystery. And that description alone sounds kind of dry, plus the kind of reviews on Goodreads. I didn't think this was going to be like gripping or enthralling at all, and it totally was. I absolutely loved this book. My other biggest surprise was probably The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I'm going to talk more about that book in a second, so we'll come back. Number 7 is favorite new author, that being a new to you author or a debut author. I must say in a big way for me, that is Rachel Yoder, author of Night Bitch. Is her debut novel. I am absolutely obsessed with that book, which, by the way, for the uninitiated, Night Bitch tells the account of an unnamed woman who used to be an artist, is now kind of an unfulfilled stay-at-home mom who believes she is becoming a dog. But yeah, love that. And her writing is just so cutting and so smart, and I loved it. I'm so excited to see anything this woman comes up with. Number 8. Now this number 8 is newest fictional crush. And I was gonna say, like, you know, I don't think I have that part of my brain anymore that gets crushes on fictional characters. But I do still have the part of my brain that is a contrarian. So my answer is Maloretsev. Fuck you. Take your Mal hate. There's the door. I love Mal, so we're saying Mal and we're sticking to it. Newest favorite character. I have a couple answers here. Number 1, Night Bitch. Again, I love that woman. She's a piece of work. Number 2, is Dana from Kindred. I talked in one of my more recent wrap-ups about how I thought Dana was so cool, so smart, and so pragmatic, and I just thought she was so cool, and she made such a great protagonist in like a fish out of water story. Love Dana. Also, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, most of the characters from She Who Became the Sun are super, super interesting. A book that made you cry. I gotta bring it back to Mayflies by Andrew O'Hagan. This book is kind of told in two parts. In the first part, it's a group of friends from Scotland who go to Manchester in the 80s to basically spend the weekend going to concerts and having like the best weekend of their lives. And the second part, we meet two of these friends several decades down the line. One of them is terminally ill. It's kind of their friendship coming back together at the end of life. So that whole concept obviously is very heart-wrenching. Yeah, this was tremendous. It made me cry several times. It was really good. Okay, number 11 is a book that made you happy. So it's almost like a joke that I have with some of my friends is that I only like really sad stuff. So I don't, like, I'll read some comedy, but even the comedy I read is kind of heavy. So the main book that comes to mind is, again, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. It was just really nice. It was just like a really pleasant read. It's kind of this like found family dynamic in a version of this sci-fi future where there are all these different kinds of beings coexisting, being family together and learning about each other and like adapting to each other and being accepting of each other. It's just like really nice to read that, because I feel like so often in sci-fi it's just like racism in space, but I really liked it. It was just really nice. Number 12 is the second to last question, and that is the most beautiful book you have bought this year. So I didn't read this book in the first half of the year. I bought it in the first half of the year, and not to spoil my July wrap-up, but I finally finished it, and that is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't bought an overwhelming number of books this year, and most of the ones I have bought are just kind of like paperbacks, like they're not especially pretty. I will say I love this cover of The Western Wind. I just think that is really pretty and cool. But Rule of Wolves is probably it, because beyond just this cover, which is pretty enough, I'll stick with me here, the silver foiling underneath is beautiful, and it's got kind of these like marble effect end pages. And then Ruthie loved this book so much and thought it was so beautiful, she ate the corner of it. So that's great. But yeah, that's probably like the visually prettiest book I have bought this year. All right. And the final question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? A stroke of luck, I have 2 entire videos about some upcoming reading plans I have, some of which include plans that I have by the end of the year. What are some ones that I listed? Grapes of Wrath, Song of Achilles, both rereads, as well as I'm catching up on the Age of Darkness trilogy, because the 3rd one comes out in September. Truth of the Divine by LINDSAY ELLIS is also coming out. That is the, I'm not prepared, which is the sequel to Axiom's End, which I read and loved. Really good first contact with aliens type of book. Snowflake by Louise Nealon is another one that is, I think, already out in the UK and Ireland, but not here yet. I have the ARC for that one and for Truth of the Divine. So those are my probably most solid plans for the rest of the year. So yes, that is all I really have. This was just kind of a casual little video to be filmed in the middle of the week. Yeah, thank you for watching. Ruthie is chewing on her little bone like crazy. Every once in a while I do get a comment that's like, show the dog. Ah. Behold the child. She does not want to be held right now. This is Ruthie. Whenever you hear just something really like gross sounding in the background, it's probably her chewing on something. Was there something else I was going to say? I don't remember. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.